Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly live call here in our exclusive coaching community of Room Number 5. So, if you are part of the club, you should know that, or part of the group, you should know that you can ask questions before and let me know in advance what you want to talk about or what you want me to talk about. Normally my call's on Wednesday, but I had to move it to today because some things came up the other day that kind of blocked my path. But now I'm here to share some thoughts. And I'm not sure anybody asks any questions, but again, the way it works is you can ask any questions you want. The whole part of the weekly call is to give you opportunity to speak with me. You can come on stage with me and talk to me. You can ask questions below. You can comment, and I'll read all the comments and I'll answer all the questions that you have as part of the support for this community. And if you and again, you can engage as much as you want or as little as you want, but the more you deposit in, the more you get out of it, right? That's kind of the general thing of how the club works. And of course, here I am in my son's room because that's where I'm relegated to do these calls while the kids are still home doing online schooling. That may end in a couple of weeks, which is kind of exciting for me too, because it's been certainly a challenge to have them around all the time and manage the different things. So I want to talk about a couple things. One I want to talk about is accountability. One of the reasons why we have both this coaching group, the reason why we have a community in here, the reason why I'm doing these weekly calls, is to do everything I can to hold you accountable. And I say that and I say that in the most loving way possible because accountability is hard for people. It's hard for me too when I'm on certain things. Other things are easier. And so, accountability it's a two-way street though. So, I can't help you, I can't help hold you accountable until I know what's holding you back from being accountable and what support you need, what kind of resources you're looking for. So I encourage all of you who watch this video or are in this community to please comment below. Let me know exactly what it is that's holding you back or what you need support on for being accountable. That said, we have this community. It's going to grow. We keep the more I have new clients or new people in my programs, the more I add them to this group. So we keep adding more people. It's a chance for you to, share your journey. So you're working on a story, share it with our group. You working on a brand or working on a web page, share it here. Get our feedback. Do you want to, you have a challenge at work or a challenge with a client? Share here, and we can actually give you feedback. Because it's not just me; some other people answer as well, which is great. So, I want to try to, and we have every Monday we have the weekly posting of sharing of articles. This is for you to share articles and content where you can support and get us to like and love your posts and comment on them. And every Wednesday we do the weekly call, which is this, and on Fridays I'll share a tip. And again, a lot of it is on you, and I want you to take advantage of it because I'm committed. I'm invested in your growth. I'm invested in your success. I'm invested in your fulfillment. I'm invested in empowering you the best way possible. And many of you are leveraging the power of what I'm offering as well as what this community offers, and others are not. So I want to make sure that you get the most out of this as best you can. All right. So that's really I want to talk about the accountability piece. I think that's really important. The second thing I want to talk about is apologies and forgiveness. So that I was kind of inspired by something recently where all the time this happens. You'll a client or you work with somebody and they apologize for something, and other people apologize whether it's real or genuine or not. And so I posted on LinkedIn. And I said, well, how do I look at apologies? Well, if you're a really good apology is when you apologize with heartfelt, genuine, genuine concern. But on top of that, you either say you're going to and then start acting in a way that leads to positive change. So, for example, if I'm late to something, and let's say I screwed up an appointment, I'm late. I say, "Oh, so sorry, I'm so late, and I screwed that up, and I'm going to try to be better." Then it's inherent upon me to try to be better and be better at being on time and not being late. And so, that's something, and that's something I'm actually pretty bad at too. So I try to work on that. And so maybe when I apologize for being late, it's not as good as it could be. Like I need to really own it and really get that in my head and my heart in terms of what exactly was I doing and why was I doing it, and break that down. There's other apologies you see all the time where you see there's people out there who don't apologize at all, like business leaders, political leaders. I find that really frustrating. Like, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. I think the ability to apologize and own up to what you made an error in, and to move on and to try to do better actions, is courageous, and that's what leadership is. That's what thought leadership is. And so, you see all the time people who are not willing to apologize for those things when it would go a long way. I remember years ago I was watching it was a political thing where someone apologized. I think it was our prime minister, but they did it in such a bad manner, like just like, oh, okay, fine, I apologize. And I was like, well, that's not even genuine. No one cares about that kind of stuff. It's got to be genuine. So, do you apologize for things? And some people don't apologize, and some people say, what about apologies that are not worth it, or they're fake apologies? Well, no, I'm not even talking about that. I think that you should apologize genuinely for the small things, like, sorry, I missed the deliverable here, or I apologize for being late, or I apologize that I came across as, flippant or dismissive, like whatever that might be. Doing that is ownership, takes courage, and it shows that you care. So to me, it's a genuine act of caring to make those small apologies. Then you have the big apologies, which I think are harder, and oftentimes harder for people to accept. If you did something really, really bad, or someone did something really bad, when they apologize, how do we take that apology? Again, I think the more thoughtful you can be, the more detailed you can be about it, the more clear you are on the steps you're going to take, and then actually following through on those steps on a consistent basis, then the more likely you're going to be able to get past that. I think of family and friends, particularly long held issues or challenges that we've had, and someone finally apologizes and owns up for really, really bad behavior from a long time ago. It's hard to accept it, but if they've made those actions to change, eventually, yeah, I think time can heal those wounds, and forgiveness is also key. But the reason I talk about apologies because I think a lot of people don't do them for fear of looking weak. A lot of people don't do them well because I guess they're afraid of committing to actual change. And then there's a lot of people that say it, but then don't act on it. And that's a whole other story that you need to dive deep into to understand exactly what that's all about. So that's really what I want to talk about in terms of apology. And then that leads to the other piece, which is forgiveness. And forgiveness is another powerful thing because particularly if you can forgive somebody, even if they don't apologize, that's a very, very hard thing to do, right? So someone's done you wrong, but you say, I forgive them, even if they don't apologize. What you'll find is if you're willing to do that, it actually sets you free too from that burden. It sets you free to move on. It helps you with the healing, even if you didn't get the apology. And I've had situations where I didn't get apologies. There was I was in a toxic relationship with my agent last year, and I had this, and she sent a series of really, really toxic, horrible emails, and I'm like, oh my God. And I spent days and days and sometimes weeks thinking about how I should respond. And eventually I tried to let it go, and I finally responded a month later and just said, I think it's time for us to move on. And that's what I did. I just moved on to the relationship. And she came back with another biting remark. I was like, oh God. I was trying so hard not to answer that other terrible email where she went all toxic and ballistic on stuff. But yeah, it hurt because it was in my head for ages. And even now, sometimes I think about it, I was like, oh God, I sometimes think about what I should have said or what I should have done and whatnot. But, but I forgive her. And I forgive her because whatever toxicity she's spewing, it's from some sort of pain or damage she's feeling. And empathy allows me to understand that hurt people hurt people. She's projecting pain or experience or whatever it might be onto me, onto other people, and that's why she's doing that. And so, it doesn't bother me as much. It still bothers me. I'm human, but it bothers me less. And so that forgiveness allows me to just, not hold myself attached to that situation anymore, to let it go, to stop thinking about it. It allows me to forgive myself for the emotion and pain that I was kind of holding on to with dealing with that situation. And I can forgive myself for losing many nights of sleep because of it, and I'm not responding quicker. It's a way for me to process, to let it go. And so that's why I think forgiveness is so important, especially if they don't apologize. But even if they do, again, look at you can forgive without, a lot of people are worried about forgiving because, what if they get screwed up? What if they get thrown? What if they get hurt again? Right? So I think that there are people you can forgive with conditions, right? So if someone is abusive or someone's toxic or someone really did you wrong, say, listen, you can say, I accept your apology, and I'll forgive you for that one, and I'll look forward to you changing and creating positive outcomes and actions moving forward. But if it happens again, well, we'll have to have that conversation. And there's ways to do that. So that's kind of my thoughts on the whole idea of apologies and forgiveness. I think they're really important. And if you have any questions on what we talked about today, you can comment below and be part of the conversation and share your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say. All right? And it looks like no one's here on the call today, so you'll get the video, you get the replay, and you can look at it wherever you want, and you can share your comments. But thanks so much for being part of the group and joining the weekly calls and being part of the discussion. I look forward to seeing you. Have yourself a lovely week. Stay safe. Talk soon.